So let's bring in a couple of regulars around here. Former special counsel to President Bill Clinton and Fox News contributor Lanny Davis, who's known President Clinton for what, like 150 years?
42 years.
42 years. And former press secretary for Rick Santorum's presidential campaign, former communications director for Michelle Bachmann as well. Alice Stewart is here. Willkommen.
Great to be here.
Isn't it great to be here? We should probably start with you, Lanny. The First Lady tonight, what's her mission?
I think she has a serious side message of what her husband has done as president, and I think she has a human side about what kind of dad he is, what kind of human being he is. And if she has to do both of those, I'm sure she'll do well.
Alice?
Well, I expect she'll steer clear of politics. I mean, that's not what she generally jumps into. She'll obviously portray her husband as a great husband, a great father, and a great person, which there's no disputing that. He is a great person. He's just a bad president. And we expect her to talk about, him more as a person as opposed to the leader. It's going to be hard for her to talk about his leadership because it's not been one that has made things better for the American people. Problem is, she's also going to have to, instead of the benefit of reaching out to independents, she's going to have to really try and reel in a lot of the disaffected supporters that the administration is experiencing right now.
All right, Lanny, one of the controversies, well, there are the few things that are bubbling in the 24-hour cable cycle, 5-second internet cycle, and one of them is the president gave himself an incomplete on his process, and I guess what he's saying is, I want 4 more years, duh.
He inherited a very tough hand, and he's digging out of a deep hole that he inherited. That's not to blame George Bush. I happen to be soft on George Bush. He's a good friend of mine. But I think he has to state the fact that I had a very tough hand from 2009, and I've done a pretty good job creating 4.5 million jobs and passing national health care. And I hope, appealing to this civil discourse of this country rather than mean-spiritedness.
Certainly no debating that he had to pull us out of a hole like no one ever dreamed possible.
There's no disputing that, but he said himself 3.5, 4 years ago that if he doesn't turn the economy around by this time, it's going to be a one-term proposition, and we expect to hold him to that.
He did say that.
When you've got unemployment above 8% for this length of time, you've got a GDP at 1.5%, you've got the debt and deficit skyrocketing out of control. We need a new change. We need someone like the Romney-Ryan ticket that will get in there and rein in the size of government and encourage free market enterprise. And his middle-class jobs plan is exactly what we need to turn the economy around and get jobs created in this country.
One of the other things that's bubbling around there today, it's sort of uncomfortable even to talk about, frankly, but this quote that Bill Clinton is alleged to have at one point said, there was a time when he'd have been carrying our bags for us, meaning that President Obama, there was a time when he would have been carrying the bags for the Clintons. We spoke briefly before this program. You've known Bill Clinton for 42 years. We as people in society have known Bill Clinton for a long time. Never heard anything like that out of Bill Clinton.
First of all, it's impossible that he would have said those words, much less to Ted Kennedy. Impossible. Secondly, the reporter's a great reporter, but he's relying on someone who passed away, who told it to someone, who told it to someone, and that's what's being written in the article. Don't believe first-hand hearsay, much less compound hearsay from someone who passed away. This is just totally not believable, and I don't think it ever should have been published. I don't know why they would publish second-hand hearsay without any validity.
This campaign has gotten kind of gross on both sides all over the place, hasn't it, Alice?
It has. It's been very negative, and the problem is we've got an administration that instead of focusing on the record, which is typical of an incumbent president, it's not a record that he wants to talk about. So he's turning the tables and he's going negative and he's making personal attacks against the competition because does not have a record to run on. And we got to get things going. We need to have what the Romney-Ryan ticket is doing. They're staying focused. They're staying on the issue that people of this country are concerned about. And you've been out there.
I have, and I actually heard it go as negative as anything I've ever heard during that primary. You're not going to deny that now.
Well, that's part of the primary.
I mean, ask Newt Gingrich about it.
It's part of the primary process.
Right. It's all this nasty is all part of the process. We don't have to like it, but it is part of the process.
Right. Well, and the key is to get the focus back on jobs and the economy.
Well, I haven't heard that happen. I mean, I hear them all say we ought to be talking about jobs and the economy, but none of them really have anything. None of them have anything much to say about jobs and the economy.
But listen carefully to Bill Clinton, because I think he was picked by President Obama as keynote speakers, because he does have the ability to disagree agreeably, to be civil and not to demonize opposition.
Lanny.
And that's what I think Barack Obama has to listen to and do in his acceptance.
We'll try tonight, Lanny. We'll try.
Well, I think he's one of those people all of his life, as long as I've known him, who've converted enemies into friends and haven't made friends into enemies. That's a key thing about Bill Clinton.
And the only thing about having Clinton speak here is granted he's a great speaker and beloved, but he's going to call attention to the fact that in his leadership we had economic prosperity.
We sure did.
Now we have
Those were good times suddenly, weren't they?
They sure were. Now we have economic turmoil. So
I don't remember anybody saying that at the time, but it was good times.
It certainly is better than what we have now, and that's just going to call attention to that. But it'll certainly be great to speak. Hopefully they've got the they don't have the 1 hour time limit on them like they did in '88.
That was a long speech.
I was there. I saw it.
I was there too. Alice, Lanny, good of you both. Thank you.